You're with your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso, here on SABC3. Here's a question for you. Have you ever been in a situation where life throws you a curveball and you need some extra cash, but as in right now? Well, you're not alone, especially as 2020 has shown us. And whilst you may consider asking a friend or the bank for a loan, pawning is actually a quick and hassle-free way to get your hands on some quick cash. And here to tell us everything we need to know about it is CFO and co-founder of Cash Converters Southern Africa, Peter Forshaw. Mr. Peter, my good old friend, so good to have you back.
Thank you, Tabisa. That's great. Great to be back.
We know that cash converters are known for buying and selling, but you also pawn products. What exactly does it mean to pawn a product?
Well, pawning a product means that you actually get an advance, a cash advance against your product. So you don't have to actually sell the item. So you're really using it as a pledge to get a loan.
That's very interesting, Peter. But what is the history of pawning? Because from what I understand, this is an age-old loan system.
Absolutely. Pawning has been around since the 5th century in China. It's been a very popular form of short-term access to cash. It's got a long history of growing up in Europe. And it's very popular in places like the UK, Australia, and America. So it's really a worldwide accepted way for people to get short-term access to cash. And it's been around in South Africa for many years, although it hasn't really been mainstream in businesses like cash converters.
You know, Peter, there's been so much interest around pawning. I mean, we've seen all these reality shows pop up on TV about it. There are many stories. What are some of your standout stories to do with pawning?
I think a lovely story is one of the most famous pawn transactions that ever took place was Queen Isabella of Spain actually pawned her jewels to fund Christopher Columbus going out and actually discovering the Americas. So we mustn't think pawning and the concept of pawning is only for normal people. Even kings and queens use it. So that's just a lovely story from the history books.
Wow, that is so interesting. Well, I better find my jewels very quickly because I am in need a bit of a trip, Peter. Well, you know, Peter, here in South Africa, a lot of us have come to know and love cash converters. But when did you become pawnbrokers?
When we started Cash Converters in South Africa, we purely focused on the buy and sell component. The main reason for that was at the early stages in the 90s and early 2000s, there was no real regulation and rules regarding pawnbroking. And it was only with the introduction of the National Credit Act that it actually formalized and regulated how pawnbroking was to be done. And it was at that point that we felt that we wanted to introduce the product to South Africa because it really gave guidance as to how you pawnbroke, particularly with regards to the costs and the responsibilities. As a matter of interest, Cash Converters in Australia, which is where Cash Converters originated, have been pawning for many years, but their legislation was ahead of the curve and in place.
Well, Peter, I have to tell you this story. I always thought about the TV show Loan Sharks when I heard the word pawning, but it seems like it's quite a smart short-term loan option.
Well, it is to be so, and I think that the great thing about taking out a pawn or getting pawning your product is it's really extremely quick. It's extremely easy. Although it's regulated by the National Credit Act, it doesn't impact on your credit history in any way. There are no requirements from an affordability perspective. So it's really easy. You really bring your goods in, and based on the value, the intrinsic value of the items, that will give guidance as to how much you're able to borrow. So the great thing about it, it's easy, it's hassle-free, and it's a very simple concept. If you've got something of value, you pawn it. And if you want to get the item back, you come back at the agreed repayment period, you pay the money, which includes the fees, and you get your item back. So it's really a very quick, easy, simple way of getting access to cash, which in these days, particularly as we go forward with the impact of COVID-19, I think lots of people are going to need cash and don't necessarily want to sell their goods. So you have the option of getting your goods back, which is really fantastic.
Well, Peter, you've got my full attention here. I think that you are right to say a lot of South Africans are under pressure right now. And during this time where people want to stretch their money a little bit extra, this is such an incredible way to do that. But stay with us, because later on, Peter is actually going to be showing us how to pawn. Apparently, it's a quick and easy process, but we'll learn from Peter in just a bit.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Well, we're back with Peter Forshaw, the CFO and co-founder of Cash Converters Southern Africa, and we're chatting all things pawning. Need some quick cash? Well, here's how you can do it. Peter's here to tell us more about that. Peter, as a practical example, let's just say I'm in need of 5,000 Rand and I decide to pawn a personal item like my old phone. How does it all work if I had to go to a cash converter store? What do I do?
Right. Well, the first thing is you need to take the item into the store. The only requirement is you need to be over the age of 18, and the item has to be yours. You have to be the legal owner of that item. You take it into one of the cash converter stores, into the buy shop, and you negotiate with the buyer in that environment. And depending on the value of the item, it'll depend on how much money you can borrow against that item. So you're effectively using that item as a form of security. You're pledging that item. Once you've agreed on the price, then you'll hand the item over, and Cash Converters then holds that item for the period, which is a 30-day loan, and they safely look after it and hold it in the shop. Now, there's an added advantage in that you can choose the way you want to get the money. So you can receive the money in the form of cash, or alternatively, you can use our Cashies card. And what Cashies card is it's a Visa card onto which the money will get automatically loaded. The fantastic thing about the Cashies card is it's safe. You can walk away with the money safely on the card, and you can go and draw it out at any FNB ATM, and the first withdrawal is sponsored, so you don't pay for it, or you can use that card at any point-of-sale device that accepts Visa or MasterCard. So it really is as simple as that. At the end of the period, when you come back and collect your item, the item will be returned to you once you've paid and settled your obligation up.
This is really so smart, and it sounds so hassle-free as well. But what happens to my phone while you guys have it? How long do I have to pay you back?
So the period is stipulated on the agreement. It's clearly highlighted on the agreement, and it's a period of 30 days. And what we do is we keep that product safely under our control in our store for you while you have taken out the pawn transaction. So it's our responsibility. The store is responsible for that item. And when you come back, we give it back to you. So what we'll do is we'll wrap it. We'll put it in protective packaging, so for example in bubble wrap or in cling film, and we'll store it. And if it's high-value items, it'll go into a safe or into a secure lockup facility within the store. So you can rest assured that your item will be safe. And one of the biggest things about pawnbroking is the trust. Consumers have such a trust with the pawnbroker. They trust the pawnbroker that they're going to get fair value for their loan, as well as they trust the pawnbroker that the pawnbroker will return that product to them. So trust is such an important part about this relationship that a cash converter store has with its client.
Well, the one thing that Cash Converters has been built on, really, and from my understanding of your business, has been trust. And having experienced your business and having been to a few of your outlets myself, I know that the people that work there are such trustworthy people, and anyone going into your stores is in good hands. But you already have sold this to me, but what are some of the benefits of pawning? Why would you recommend it to someone?
Well, I think it goes back to the simplicity. It's transparent. You're in charge of the transaction. You are the person who is negotiating, so you will get your fair value on the item. You don't have to borrow the full amount. So if you want a small amount, you don't have to be burdened by having to make a big repayment. You can get the amount of money that you need at that particular point in time. So I think that's the first thing. It's related to the value of the item and what you need. And the other benefit is that it doesn't require any of the onerous reporting requirements or scorecard requirements or looking up in terms of your credit records. It's a simple process, but it is regulated and you are protected in terms of the National Credit Act. And if for some reason at the end of the contract, at the end of the 30 days, you're unable to make the payment, there are no negative ramifications in terms of your credit record or in terms of any obligations that you may have. You simply do not have to come back and get the item. And that is also a big bonus. It's really simple borrowing. It works for consumers. It satisfies short-term cash requirements.
Peter, it is simple borrowing that comes with a whole lot of peace of mind. Peter Forshaw, of course, is the CFO and founder of Cash Converters here in Southern Africa. Thank you so much for your time. You have been fantastic. We've learned so much this morning about pawning.
Thank you so much. Been an absolute pleasure, and good luck.
And all the Cash Converter stores are now open under level 3. So you can go in to a store near you to find out more about how to pawn your items. You can visit them online and read up all about it. They've made it very, very easy and convenient. cashconverters.co.za.
Who says second-hand is second best? At Cash Converters, you can buy top brands at bargain prices and sell your goods for instant cash.